Good morning. We are at GW Bell and Sons Dairy. Um, I'm Farmer Mary Beth, and I have my son Cooper, my oldest son Cooper, along with me to help you guys, to give you a tour, to show you around, and let you see what we do here on our farm. We are located in Kings Mountain, North Carolina, sort of on the side of a hill, and I'm really excited to show you around. All right, we're going to start here where we bring our newborn baby calves. This is just a little hut that they stay in for the first week of their life. They're fed a milk replacer twice a day out here, and we keep them separated so that they aren't exposed to diseases. They're just like any other newborn baby. They need to be kept away from sickness until they build up their immune system. The calf will stay here for 1 week, and then they're moved into a group pen, and we'll go in there and look in there in just a second. We feed them a milk replacer like baby people drink, so it's something very similar that's mixed with warm water. And what else? Oh, and when a baby calf is born, our calves are usually about 70 to 90 pounds when they're born. Um, This one seems to be a little bit bigger, but we have we have different breeds, and each breed has a little bit different size when they're born. The Jerseys seem to be a little smaller, and the Jersey crosses, and then this is a Holstein, so she's a little bigger. We also go ahead and put an ear tag in as soon as the baby's born so that we can keep track of who she is. They do not, all the calves do not get their own individual name, but they do get a number that allows us to keep track of her all through her life. So that number will follow her until she actually leaves our farm. Okay, now we're inside our calf barn. As you can see, we got lots of calves in here. These calves, we bring them in here when they are a week old. So these are about from 7 days to about 30 days old. And we bring them in here to introduce them to each other so that they can be in a group. That way they can get used to being in a herd. Cows are herd animals, and they enjoy being around each other just like little kids do. They enjoy being together and playing. We separate them in here. These are the smaller ones. And then once they're 30 days old, we move them over here to the other side. Um, and we also introduce them in here to a grain feed. You can see the bin, the little feed trough. That's where we put in like a starter calf grain, which is just the beginnings of what they're going to eat when they get big. Um, we also have two spots in here where they can go up to our calf feeder, which is like a big thing, a big bowl that mixes up the milk replacer, and they can actually drink their bottle from our automatic calf feeder. And you also see they have water. We keep water in front of them at all times. So they can get milk or water or feed anytime they want to in here on both sides. Both sides are set up the same. This is our dry cow barn or maternity barn that we call it. When a cow gets pregnant with a calf, they're just like people. It takes 9 months to have a baby. For the last 2 months that they're pregnant, they aren't producing milk. They actually get to go on a vacation, and we have them in two different places. They get to go to a pasture, and then when they get closer, about 1 to 3 weeks before they have their calf, we bring them into this barn. This is a pack barn. Um, that's because it's just got straw down and no free stalls, so that they're able to lay on the straw. Um, while they're waiting to have their calf. We also like to check the barn 2, 3, 4 times a day. That way we can see if there's any cow that may be having trouble having her calf. The majority of the time, the cows don't have any trouble. We come down here, we just find newborn babies. So occasionally we have to come and, you know, do something, intervene in some type of way to help the baby calf be born. Hey, now we're at one of our freestall barns. This is where the cows come once they have their first calf and they join the milking herd. That's usually when they're about 2 years old. And they come to the barn and get to enjoy all the comforts of being inside one of our freestall barns. You'll see we have sprinklers going right now because it is hot. It sort of acts like air condition. You know, it wets them and cools them down, and we have fans that blow to keep them nice and cool. Those will cut off once we get into the colder parts of the year. You can see a lot of them are up here eating. They spend a lot of the time of the day eating. A cow actually eats about 100 pounds of feed a day. And this is something we call a total mixed ration, which we take corn silage, so another type of silage like a small grain silage, and mix it with ground corn and soybean meal, cottonseed, all different kinds of things to mix it up so that they will eat all of it. They're a lot like people. They like to sift through their, well, like kids, they like to sift through their feed and only eat the good tasting stuff. So you have to mix it all up so they'll eat it all and get a nice balanced diet. You can also see we have a lot of different colors of cows, and that's just different breeds. The black and white cows are Holsteins. A lot of these are Holstein, and then the brown ones, we've got a couple brown Swiss in there. We've got some Jerseys, Jersey Holstein crosses, some Montbéliard. I mean, we've got a bunch of different breeds of cattle here on our farm. And then here in the middle of the barn, we have 2 rows of beds. We have one bed for each cow. So if they all were to lay down, they each would have their own bed that they could lay into. You rarely find that happening though, because you'll have about half of them up eating and, you know, about half of them laying down at any given time when you come to look. We do put sawdust down on their beds to make it softer. We have a automatic barn scraper too that goes down and it cleans the barn out about every 2 hours. So it runs while they're walking around, and they just step over the automatic barn scraper. This is our commodity shed, or what we call the commodity shed. It's where we keep all the different ingredients that goes into the feed that is mixed up for the cows and the calves and the heifers to eat. We have ground corn and soybean meal, and then we also have some things that are called byproducts. That's stuff that is like leftovers from when something else is made. Like we have some citrus pulp, which is leftover from when they make orange juice. We do not have cottonseed, but cottonseed is something that you see a lot of that's mixed, that comes from leftovers of when they refine the cotton. We also have what's left over from when they brew beer, and we feed that to cows. It's pretty cool that cows are recyclers. They will eat things that humans can't eat, and they'll turn that into nutritious milk. So you can see we have all these different bays that hold the different ingredients out here. And here we are in our milking parlor. You can see that we have cows already in here being milked. We start every morning at 3 o'clock in the morning with our first milking, and then we milk 3 times a day. We have 10 on each side. You can see they come in from the back. He's putting the milkers on right now. When they come in, they're going to come in and line up, and we actually milk from the back of the cow. I'm going to let Cooper show you how it's done. We start with a pre-dip, which cleans and sanitizes the teats. And then they are wiped off and dried. They dry off that sanitizer. And then we put the milker on. Hold right there. Go ahead. You can see that this cow already has the milker on. You can see the milk comes down and it flows through the pipe. It's then weighed, so we know exactly how much each cow is giving each milking, and we're able to see how much individual cow gives every day. Our average cow usually gives about 80 pounds of milk, which comes out to be about 9 gallons. So a lot of milk in a day. It's brought from the pipe to our milk cooler, which is in about the middle of the barn. And it really only takes about 5 to 8 minutes to milk each cow. They have to stand there until they're all finished, which usually for like 10 cows is at the most 12 minutes. They're actually standing in here, doing their job 3 times a day. So they really don't have to work a lot. I mean, they're usually working 30 minutes a day, which is way better than most adults who have to work 8-hour days. After they're done milking, we let them go, and they go back to the freestall barn that we just saw. And then they get to walk around and lounge and eat until it's time to come back. Now we're in our cooler room. This is where the milk comes through. It comes through some pipes and comes into our milk cooler. It's called a cooler because the milk coming from the cow is warm, and the cooler actually will cool it down. It takes it from about 96 degrees down to 39 degrees, and then it holds it at 39 degrees um, all day long, waiting on the milk truck driver, which they come every night and pick up a load of milk. Our cooler holds 3,000 gallons. Um, we don't usually fill it all the way up before the milk truck driver comes, but we come pretty close. The milk truck driver picks it up from our farm, and he takes it down about an hour away from here in Spartanburg to a pet plant. And they process the milk and put it in the cartons that you guys see. And I believe the turnaround's pretty quick. So when you go to the store and pick up milk that's come from our farm, it's only been away from the cow for a couple days. Well, Cooper and I want to thank you for coming along on this tour of our dairy today. We really look forward to introducing you to your calves that will be born here in a couple of weeks and following along on their life. And we really look forward to talking to you guys through the school year and then answering any questions you have.